Hello Exiles, and today I'm going to be providing you with 6 big news updates which I have found out over the last couple of days, and instead of releasing these into 6 separate videos, what I thought I would do is just put them all into one big video just to save you watching, and we can fly through them all in one together, because I kind of thought that if I did 6 individual videos they're not going to get watched, so I just thought let's throw them all into one, make it nice and easy. Before we go any further guys, I'd just like to say if you are enjoying any of my videos or any of my content, then I would kindly ask if you would throw us a subscribe. It will greatly help the channel. And I am going to be streaming live on Twitch for the early access on the 15th of November for the entire weekend guys, so if you are not intending on buying the access but you do want to watch and how it looks, then tune in, and I will be streaming on Twitch. My Twitch link is in the description below, so throw us a follow now and you could always come and join me when I am streaming on that weekend. It would be great to see some people. With that being said, let's jump into this. So the first big news event is that we have finally managed to get a screenshot of what the Templar and what the Druid is going to look like. Now as you can see on the left here, this is going to be the Templar and this is going to be the Druid. Now a few of you guys and a few people out there with their beady eyes might be able to recognize that these two look exactly the same, which they technically are, and I'm going to reference here to a comment that Jonathan said. Jonathan from GGG, he basically stated that these two are basically the same person but with a different upbringing. And just to quote my source, just before anyone says where has he said that, here is a comment from Jonathan GGG, which is on the Path of Exile Discord. Here is the picture, and he's then said here, Templar and a Druid, same guy, different upbringing. So here are the looks. Now potentially you may think that this may have slightly changed between obviously when this picture was released and when you will then get the 1.0 launch, which is probably going to be at least 6 months away, but this is the basis I would assume of how they are going to look. I don't think they're going to do much change to how this guy looks now. It's more going to be a case of how he performs and how he moves and things like that. So that's the first big change and the first big piece of news. The second big piece of news is that the Path of Exile 2DB website has now been updated with a bunch of new gems, which we're going to have a quickly run through in a second, and it has also been updated with all of the skill gems. It has now been added with the narrative text in the same format that it is shown in game, with the italic text, and it then gives you a bit of a breakdown. And some of these texts have also been updated with the damage numbers as well. But don't quote me, because some of these may not have been changed for quite some time. Bearing in mind this is all based on any footage that we have seen over the last couple of months on games events and any footage where people have played the game. In terms of gems, we have the new gems, which I'm going to have a quick run through with yourself now very quickly. So we have Corpse Conservation, we've got Elemental Focus, which we should all be aware of, Enduring Life, which gives you more life flasks, we got Frozen Vortex, which seems to create a vortex when you shatter an enemy, Hypothermia, we already know, Knockback is self-explanatory, Lockdown seems to be something to do with pin build-up, so kind of like a stun build-up, and it can be stronger. Searing Flame helps with ignites, and obviously helps ignites do more damage. Stormfire provides shocks, and they inflict shocks on ignited enemies, so it prolongs shocks that they inflict on ignited enemies. Then we got Bursting Plague, which kind of reminds me of Profane Bloom, in the fact that your monsters will explode. So if you read on there, it says they gain plague and then they explode in a plague burst on death. We then have Iron Grip, which obviously provides you with strength to increase your projectile damage. Behead, which is like a mini headhunter, which we already kind of have. Glacial Bolt, which is for any of you mercenaries like myself, which is obviously going to provide you with 2 walls of icy crystals. Explosive Shot, which will then explode and detonate any grenades. We got Blazing Lance, which is a spear skill. We have a Ball Lightning, which we should all know as well. And then the last one is Corrosion, which basically sounds busted as hell. If you read it there, causes your armor to break enemy armor. But if you read it, it says it has an equal to 3,500% of the poison damage dealt. So yeah, that sounds pretty strong. Other than that, like I said, all of the other gems have also been updated, so if you want to have a run through them all, they're all in here and you can have a blitz through them all. The next piece of information I think you Minion enjoyers are going to absolutely love. So we have been chatting with Viper this week from GGG. He is one of the developers, and he basically made a comment this week to say here, at the top here, Minion information will be available in-game. He then goes on to state that though the specs information may not be perfect on early access launch, you will still be able to see your Minion stats and skills in-game. Now, if you think about that for a minute, we have never had this within Path of Exile 1, so that already is a massive step forward to be able to see your minion stats, their damage, their skills, and everything that you do and how it affects it. So that is massive. So for anyone who plays minions, that is going to be a big buff to you guys. The next big change that I wanted to discuss today in the news is the energy shield change. Now, this is a screenshot from one of the events where they've been at a Gamescom, or whether it be the one in Tokyo, where someone hovered over their energy shield. Now, if you look on the left hand side here, there is a box that's popped up. Now, not many people spotted this, but there are a few beady-eyed people that spotted it. If you read here, so in Path of Exile 1, when you get hit by chaos damage, it will bypass your energy shield and it will go straight onto your life, which is a bit of a hindrance. However, in Path of Exile 2, as you can see there, your energy shield now protects your life, and chaos damage removes twice as much energy shield. Now what that means is you can now stack your energy shield against all forms of damage pretty much, so chaos damage included, but it will do double damage to your energy shield. But it means that you can stack your energy shield, which is a bonus, because when I've seen any playthroughs, there has been no added increased life on the tree. Now, Chris did confirm at ExileCon that this was the case, but when we have seen any gameplay throughs, we have seen that this is the case. There is no increased life points or notables. The closest that I have seen is regenerate life, 1% of life, or regen a certain value of life. There is no flat life on the tree. However, there is energy shield percentage increases, and even at level 5, I think it is, on the Shadow and the Monk, there is a 24% increased energy shield increase, which is pretty massive. So it is going to be a case that you are now going to be able to stack your life and your energy shield, and it will then protect you against chaos damage. The next thing is the reclassification of weapons. Now, there was a conversation that was ongoing in the PoE2 chat this week, and if you read at the top here, they were talking about caster weapons and quarterstaffs and things like that. And Viper chipped in here and he said that we actually went back on this because there was too many people who assume that there are weapons, and it's easier not to challenge that assumption. So he then goes on to say here, so we're now saying martial weapons are for things that you attack with, and just never using the term weapons in isolation to mean anything mechanically significant. So avoid having to strictly define, is a scepter a weapon? So I think what he's trying to say is that weapons are now classed as ones that you attack with, and anything that's obviously, that's martial weapons. So martial weapons are anything that you attack with, and then obviously weapons that obviously are then caster weapons are then potentially named something else. I think he did say later on there was something about it, but I wasn't able to capture it. But it's just this part here that obviously anything that you attack with are now going to be classed as martial weapons. And the final one is the Giant's Blood Keystone. Now, for anyone who knows the Keystone Giant's Blood, I'm going to quickly show it to you here. So if we go to Character Class and Keystone, it's down at the bottom here, we have Giant's Blood, which says that you can wield a two-handed melee weapon in one hand, but the weapon requirements are doubled. Now, there was a few people that was talking about this keystone this week, and they were talking about how this would apply with a quarterstave. He's then jumped in here at the bottom here and stated that the wording has always been wrong, and he feels that this was just a placeholder description that made it out. From this, we can then kind of establish that potentially the Giant's Blood Keystone is not what I've just said it is, and it may be changing completely. So whatever this says here, I would possibly disregard this entirely because it could change. Bearing in mind, everything that is in the early access is subject to change anyway, and they can change many things between now and when it is launched for 1.0. So bear that in mind, this will change. That's it guys, just wanted to quickly run through these very quick changes. Hopefully that's helped you and give you a bit of an update. We've still not had any news. I do have a feeling that the news is going to drop next week. I'm going to be doing another video on that very shortly, and I'll describe why I believe they will be doing it on Wednesday of next week. But if you want to check that out, next video we'll be talking about that. Till the next video guys, thank you for watching and stay sane.